Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Alex and Ada by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn. In Alex and Ada by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn, Alex has just had a breakup with his girlfriend and is in a dark place. With the intention of cheering him up, his grandmother buys him an expensive X5, the latest in realistic androids. Alex calls his android Ada and finds himself wanting her to be sentient, despite government law that sentient androids are illegal. Together, Alex and Ada discover more about each other, what it means to be truly human, and explore life together as they fight back against the government that would tear them apart. First of all, before I head into my review of this freaking amazing graphic novel collection, you guys, I actually won this through a Goodreads giveaway quite a number of years ago, and I'm just now getting to it. So thank you very much, Goodreads, for giving me a free copy of this. And yeah, you guys, talk about what an amazing deal, you know, that I got this for free, because this book is actually like $50. So yeah, that was $50 I didn't have to spend for this thing. So yeah, thanks Goodreads once again for this free book. I really loved it. I don't know if I would have ever gotten around to it otherwise. So yeah, sometimes getting free books, you know, it really helps you to discover new things that you might never have otherwise found or, you know, thought you might have enjoyed. Anyway, on to the review. A quick disclaimer, I love this book. That's all this review is going to be. It's going to be me gushing from start to finish about how much I love this. And yeah, you guys, the feels, the feels that you get from this book. Oh my god. I have never felt such a crazy range of emotions reading a graphic novel. My god. And yeah, when I did my best of the year for 2018, because I read this actually in 2018, I'm just now getting a review up for it here in 2019. Yeah, this, I believe this was one of my favorite books for 2018. So yeah, that's saying a lot, you guys. And yeah, this might seriously be one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. I'm not sure if that's blasphemous or not. You know, I'm someone who really loves the Walking Dead comics. Okay, I am in love with the Walking Dead comics, but seriously, Alex and Ada, I think, just kind of got one step ahead of the Walking Dead. And over the years, I have heard so many wonderful things about this series, and yeah, I kind of had my doubts. I was like, is it really that good, or are people just being extreme and over the top? But no, the very, very overwhelming positive reviews that you have heard about this book, they're all true, you guys. Trust me, they're true. And this series just really was a pleasant surprise to me, because I went into it, I was still excited to read it, but I went into it thinking, oh, this is just going to be okay, you know, it's going to be kind of so-so. But yeah, oh my god, what a pleasant surprise with this series, just the emotions you get from it. And I was super, extremely invested in this story, in these characters, in this world, in the messages it was trying to share. And on the surface, this book may sound very simple. It may just sound like a simple love story between a human man and an android woman. That's nothing new, you know. There's so much fiction out there, you know, with a man who's human, with a female android. They have some sexy times, they fall in love. And yeah, on the surface, you may think that's what this is about. That's kind of what I thought it was about as well when I initially went into it. And yeah, that is the story, you know, it's about Alex and Ada, their love story, but the story is so much more than that. This is a story about the kind of the overabundance of technology, the over-reliance of technology, just the state of the world. This is like in a near future as well. This is not like the very far future, this is the very near future, and a very realistic near future as well, you know. Things are not over heightened or like really extreme with the technology. It's technology that we kind of have now, or things that are in development, and you see that progress, you know, you can kind of see that progress and where it might go in the future, and that's how it's kind of in here, you know. And it's also a story about a world full of hatred and prejudice towards androids. And I mean, that alone is just an amazing message and theme in this book, because the story is something that, you know, about hatred and prejudice. Hatred and prejudice is something that has always been going on for centuries and centuries. It's been going on since the dawn of time. Yeah, guys, hatred and prejudice is just never, ever going away. No matter how much you want it to go away, it's never going to go away, unfortunately. And yeah, the way this story handles hatred and prejudice, it's, instead of like doing something with race or religion or like feminism or something like that, instead it's using androids, you know, it's using androids to kind of convey this message, you know, where hate and prejudice leads. And this story is ultimately just very realistic, very relatable, and even at the very beginning of this book, Alex, he's watching the news, and apparently there's been some sort of massacre at a factory caused by androids. And there's something kind of reminiscent about it, like about terrorism, for instance. You know, modern day terrorism, but done by androids. And it's using kind of this terrorist attack by androids to set up, you know, why people are really negative towards androids and whatnot, and why the government and why people don't want androids to be sentient, why they don't want them to behave like human beings, because if they behave like human beings, that's when you get terrorist attacks and whatnot. And you see this all the time with modern day terrorism, when there's some sort of terrorist attack or a mass shooting of some sort, just anything that involves mass casualties. When you see things like that, people get upset, they get emotional for obvious reasons. There's extreme paranoia, prejudice and hatred skyrocket. So yeah, that you see the start of that, you know, you see where this story is ultimately going through that. And then you have the other side of things. You have the people who are hateful and prejudiced, but then you have the people who are like, hey, robots are people too. They need basic rights. They need to be sentient and whatnot. So yeah, that's how you get into the story of Alex and Ada. Like I mentioned in the synopsis, Alex, he's just had a breakup with his human girlfriend. His grandmother's like, hey, I'm going to buy you a hot robot. You might like her. And yeah, Alex initially, it's a very weird thing for him, you know, he doesn't really know what to do with a robot, especially a female one, because he doesn't want to be one of those people that strictly uses a robot for sex purposes, you know, he doesn't want to do that. And so yeah, over the first couple days that he has Ada, he calls her Ada, obviously the title, he really starts to form an attachment to Ada. He's really, his curiosity is piqued, and he's just really interested to find out if he could make her sentient at the end of the day, and yeah, have meaningful, true discussion with her, you know, because that's what he's craving in his life. He's craving human connection and human feeling, you know, especially since he has gone through a breakup, and yeah, he doesn't, you know, his job is kind of boring and mundane and whatnot. He wants something thrilling and exciting, and I think for him to turn Ada sentient and have some sort of connection with her, that's his ultimate desire. And yeah, I don't think it's much of a spoiler because it happens fairly early in this book. Ada does become sentient eventually, probably less than a quarter of the way into this book, I think. So speaking of Alex and Ada as a relationship, as a couple, as characters, they are both amazingly well written characters. As individuals, they are extremely well written. As a couple, they are extremely well written. And you fall head over heels in love with them. You are there from beginning to end with their relationship. You are totally invested. And it's so sweet and charming, but yet it's never like cheesy, you know, or silly or over the top. Their relationship, there's just something really realistic and relatable about it, despite, you know, him being a human and her being an android. You ultimately instantly just really fall in love with these two as a couple and as individuals. So kind of just to go through some of the artwork really quickly, at first I wasn't initially impressed with this artwork. Just kind of casually, you know, skipping through it and whatnot, I was kind of like, oh my god, this is really bland and boring and kind of basic, you know. I just don't see very much excitement on the page, you know. But yeah, once you do get into the book, I mean, you really kind of start to understand why the artwork is the way that it is. The art, there is something very simplistic and basic and kind of Spartan about it, if that makes sense. But this story is not about the artwork in some ways. The story is about the story. It's about the narrative and the characters and the experience that you get at the end of the day. And I think the artwork kind of reflects that. You know, the artwork is not flashy and flamboyant and over the top. It's just it has a very simple structure to it, you know. You just have panel, 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 you go to the next page, panel, 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 you know, you flip. Yeah, it's not very creative with the artwork, you know, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay, because this book is not about the artwork. Like I said, it's about the story and the characters. Because sometimes you would get on a page and there's just dialogue bubbles everywhere, you know, dialogue bubble, dialogue bubble. Not very much action sometimes, you know. This is a story about characters talking, you know. It's not about the action, it's about characters having genuine conversations with each other, kind of philosophical debates sometimes. And yes, sometimes, you know, like I said, they're not doing anything sometimes, you know, they're not doing anything, they're just talking face to face, and it's kind of wonderful. So yeah, instead of having wild and crazy creative panels, I think the simplicity of the panels really enhances and further develops the story. You know, it really adds to the story in its own way. I also really liked the character designs. Alex looks like a nice, attractive young man. Ada looks like a lovely, attractive robot. Yeah, once again, the artwork for the humans is just very simple, but you can tell who's who, you know, which is very important. No, it never gets confusing, like, wait, who's that again? And like I mentioned, the world, it takes place in the very near future, and I even really love the design of this near future because it feels down to earth in some ways. It feels like something I can reach out to and touch, and it feels like my future. You know, it feels like a future that I will live in at some point, because it doesn't look like a crazy future world. You know, like something like The Fifth Element or something. You know, not something really extreme and crazy with flying cars and weird technology. You know, the technology, like I mentioned, the technology is it's stuff that you have now, but just enhanced to a realistic point where it might go in 30 years. Yeah, realistic technology. Yeah, like the houses people live in. The houses just look like the houses we live in now, you know, but yeah, running like on, you know, like, you know how we have like Siri and Alexa and stuff like that, but like that's a little bit more further enhanced in the future, but still kind of, it goes to a realistic place. And one of the major companies in this book, it's called Prime Inc. And this is the company that is in charge of a lot of the technology in this world, and they also manufacture the androids. And yeah, I mean, this is also kind of a commentary on big companies, you know, something like Google or Amazon, you know, companies that they have a lot of your personal information. They claim, hey, you have privacy, but do you really have privacy? And yeah, one of the big things with this series, if you notice on the side of the head, the temple of Alex and Ada, because the robots automatically have this, obviously, but the humans can get these little chips implanted into the side of their head, okay? They get these little chips implanted, and it put out by this Prime Inc. company, and you literally just have to think something, and it happens. Like, if you want to say, if you're thinking to yourself, unlock my door, unlock my car door, unlock, turn on my TV, turned on my toaster. You know, little things like that, you know, kind of to the point that life is a little bit mundane almost in this world, because just with a simple thought, you know, with a simple thought, you can do things, and you yourself aren't really doing anything. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a scary thing, you know, it's kind of a scary thing that a company would develop something like this, but at the same time, yeah, they kind of have your personal information on file in some ways. And it's very frightening, some of the things that are going on in this book in regards to this chip that's implanted in people's heads. So, yeah guys, I freaking loved this book. It's the complete collection. I loved it from start to finish. Just easily one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. Love the characters, love the story, love the world. It's all just so realistic and wonderful. And this is a story just full of emotion and heartbreak and feelings, and it really tugs at you at the end of the day. If you're not feeling something by the end of this book, there is something wrong with you, because yeah, this book is definitely pulling at your heartstrings. So you guys, that's it for my review of Alex and Ada. In the comments below, have you guys read Alex and Ada? What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.